الفيديو please.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بداية أرحب بجميع الحضور والمشاركين، كما يشرفني المشاركة ولأول مرة في مؤتمر المرأة والأزياء العالمي الافتراضي من نسخته الثانية في يومه السابع على التوالي. كما أتوجه بالشكر الخاص لدعوتي لهذا المؤتمر من قبل الشيخة نورة الخليفة لرعايتها مثل هذا الحدث وإعطائي فرصة للمشاركة في الفعالية. والشكر موصول أيضا للجنة المنظمة الإمارات العربية المتحدة، وأنا كإماراتية فخورة بالمشاركة معكم. كما أتوجه بالشكر لسمو الشيخة فاطمة بنت مبارك أم الإمارات الداعمة لمكانة المرأة الإماراتية كشريكة في البناء والازدهار، وعزز ذلك مؤشرات التنافسية العالمية في ملف دعم وتمكين المرأة. كما تعمل الدولة على ترسيخ مكانة المرأة خلال 50 عام المقبلة برؤية طموحة مستدامة والريادة والتميز، لتظل ابنة الإمارات صاحبة إنجاز وأخلاق وربط مسيرة الوطن لكل ما من شأنه أن يرفع اسم الدولة عاليا ويعزز مكانتها بين الأمم والشعوب. ومن التحديات العالمية التي تواجه رائدات الأعمال وخاصة في قطاع الأعمال والتطور التكنولوجي الكبير وزيادة التحول إلى الخدمات الرقمية الذي فرض نفسه بسبب ظروف جائحة كورونا، والذي تشير أغلب الدراسات الاقتصادية إلى أنه جاء ليستمر، وأن الشركات ستوجه استراتيجياتها المستقبلية نحو التطوير في هذا المجال لدوره في زيادة كفاءة وجودة الأعمال وإسهامه في تقليل تكاليف ورفع الربحية واتساع رقعة الفئة المستهدفة من المستهلكين والمستفيدين، وهو الأمر الذي ينعكس إيجابياً على تأسيس ونمو أنشطة رائدات الأعمال وفتح أسواق جديدة وتحقيق التنافسية العالمية. كما استطاعت المرأة الإماراتية أيضاً من خلال الإصرار والمثابرة ودعم قيادتنا الرشيدة تحقيق مكانة متميزة ومتقدمة على طريق ريادة الأعمال العالمي، وهو ما يثبت الحضور والدعم اللامحدود الذي تقدم لنا القيادة الرشيدة ومؤسسات الدولة كافة. سيكون له الدور الأكبر في تجاوز التحديات والتطورات التي تشهدها الأسواق العالمية. وفي النهاية أشكركم على حسن الاستماع، وإن شاء الله نلتقي في المؤتمرات القادمة. شكرا لكم.
Well, we would like to thank Her Excellency Sheikha Aisha bint Rashid Al Mualla on this amazing video. نشكر لها مشاركة. ننتقل ونبدأ مع متحدثينا اليوم. عندنا الأستاذ حاتم العقيل. We would like to introduce our next speaker, Mr. Hatem Al-Aqil. He is the Arab empowerment enthusiast, award-winning designer, founder of Tubai Hatem Al-Aqil, and consultant of Authentic It by Hatem Al-Aqil podcaster. Mr. Hatem, thank you very much for joining us. It is a great pleasure to have you here with us today. If you can remove the mute.
Clear now?
Yes, it's clear now.
Yes,
thank
apologies. I'd like to first thank Sheikha Noura for hosting us and her esteemed team on this great discussion that I look forward to having with you. It's a pleasure being part of this forum, and of course, anything that is about empowering the Kuwait community, I'm all for it.
If you can share with us your journey and especially how it started.
Basically, I was working in a bank in the corporate world, and I didn't really like what I was doing at all. I was more of a creative person. And then I went to Savile Row in London, and then I saw the manufacturing. I saw the excellence in finishing, and I thought, why don't we bring a bit of this to tradition? So a light bulb went out in my head, and as I was going back and forth to work, I realized that I need to start changing adjusting my attire. I had to wear a tobe every day, and I felt like we needed to bring a bit of the know-how, the savoir-faire of manufacturing. And from there, the rest is history. I started designing my own tobes. In Saudi, we call it tobe. Emirat called kandura. So it's the traditional thobe.
Yes.
And people started to realize that I was changing the tailoring a bit. I found some great tailors and noticed that people started appreciating what I was doing. And then from there, I realized that there was a demand for it. So I opened my first boutique in 2007, long time ago, in Jeddah. And from there, we have Sheikh Majid Al-Sabah asked me to participate at the Dubai Fashion Week. At that time, he had Villa, all the multi-brands. And I was very lucky because for my first fashion show, I was alongside Marni, Prada, Dolce & Gabbana. And that was my whole message from the very beginning, was to show that our tradition can be avant-garde, our tradition can be polished and can hold its own with brands like, Dolce & Gabbana, Marni, and Prada. So from there, I moved on to Saks Fifth Avenue and Boutique One, and the rest is history. Opened my own retail. But since the very beginning, I think that although my education was mostly abroad, when I moved back to Saudi, I realized that I had an obligation to my culture to kind of shed light on our tradition. So what inspired me the most was to show that our tradition can hold its own with any international brand. I was very lucky. I had a lot of support from international celebrities and figures. And from there, I just kind of, I think I'm happy to say that the narrative on traditional fashion developed in the sense where people started to look at traditional fashion as a coveted fashion item. We dressed, people on the red carpet at the Oscars. We dressed Snoop Dogg. We dressed Christian Louboutin, and even I was commissioned to design the uniforms for Prince William's Polo Cup. So it just shows that the world is becoming much smaller, and I think that as creatives, we all have an obligation to kind of shed light on our culture and make it even more relevant, so the younger generation can appreciate it more. And from there, it just kind of took off. But I think that if there's one thing that I learned over the years is it's important for creatives to have a strong sense of business acumen, which I didn't have at the beginning. It took me years to learn, but I think that creativity is important, but you must combine that with business acumen, with understanding of the craft, understanding of how to manufacture. And I think that as Khalijis, we still have a lot to learn when it comes to manufacturing and when it comes to understanding the industry itself. What's happening now in Saudi Arabia, in particular with the Ministry of Culture, is like music to my ears, because there's so much evolvement happening towards empowering the creative community. And creativity is something that is multifaceted. It doesn't just stop at, for example, a designer. They don't realize they can actually create an industry. Not everyone is lucky enough, like me or many other people who have been able to study abroad and be able to utilize their academics. Some people are just really talented, but they don't know how to nurture their talent. So I think that part of the discussion is important that the younger generation understand that if they have an eye and if they know what they're good at, they need to take it further. And I'm living proof of that. Obviously, my path and my steps were not perfectly taken steps, but we learn as we go along. And then 3 years ago, I was commissioned by ISRA, which is the World Center of World Culture in Saudi Arabia, to create a forum. And I asked them, I'm like, why are you asking me? What? They said, well, because you've been in the market for a while and you understand fashion and you have an eye for designers. So we want you to curate an exhibition and a forum. I'm like, okay, let's try this. I like the idea of shedding light on local designers. So we chose 4 of my favorite Saudi designers, and we brought in people from Snapchat, people from MIT, people from London School of Fashion, creating a dialogue. We had even had Her Royal Highness Princess Noura come and attend a panel which was created, which was called Made in KSA. Like, how can we create a Made in KSA ethos? How can we start looking at ourselves where we don't always have to mimic the West. We can start creating our own ecosystem. So this is what the whole forum was about. It's about bridging and enlightening. We even had a boot camp workshop about how to build your own brand. And from there, I just really love the idea of reaching out to the community, of bridging, of kind of contributing with what I have learned over the years. Even PR wasn't so easy. I mean, I always actually had to go to Dubai to get my fashion shows, to get my PR. And over the years, I've nurtured some great relationships. But I think that there's so many different levels where we can contribute to the talent community. So after ITHRA, I realized that this is something that I really enjoy doing. I enjoyed seeing younger people coming in, learning how to build a brand concept, inspired someone to start her own brand. And it's small like things that really go a long way. So I decided, COVID came and things were a bit slow, as we all know, with the market. And I decided, you know what, I'm going to start this agency, and it's called Authenticité. In Arabic, it's called Asala. So I'm on the search for the authentic.
Okay.
So the function of what my agency does basically is many talented people are overlooked because they may not have the capital and they may not have the networking opportunities that we have had. So why not reach out to them and give them a platform where they can get inspired, where they can have their voices heard, and they can actually start creating collaborations. This is where it all started. Using all my knowledge in fashion and building a bridge between the talent community. We keep forgetting that there's a lot of unsung heroes, a lot of hidden gems that we don't know about. So this is kind of my mission. And I also started a podcast. I've been writing this. I'm a contributor to quite a few different publications. Yes, I'm quite busy.
I have a lot of questions coming into my mind, but
yes,
no worries. Go ahead. Yes, so tell us about your podcast.
So the podcast is a result of this column which I have written over the past 3 years. It's called Gems of Arabia. And self-explanatory. It's to highlight all the hidden and the shimmering gems, whether they're artists, whether they're product designers, whether they're architects. The creative pool is very vast and multifaceted. And this is what basically it's all about. There's a cover which I did for El Arabia. I also curate covers for artists. So with my network, I work with magazines to make sure that we feature certain artists. Now on this cover, we had famous people like Brahim Basha, Tamtam Masoud, who's a famous Saudi singer, and Princess Dima from Personage, who's also part of this whole championing of young talent. So we had famous and we had people who are at the beginning of the road. And this is what the dialogue of my podcast is about. It's about really creating the synergy between the shining and the shimmering gems and the hidden ones. I think we owe it to them to bring them forth. And also we would be very inspired because when not everything is controlled by media or by capitalism, you really run across some really authentic, amazing talent that you never heard of. And I'm still learning. It's amazing. The pool of talent that we have in Khalij, whether it's Emirat, whether it's Kuwait, whether it's Saudi Arabia, is so vast. And we're very inclusive. We're a Saudi-centric podcast, but we're inclusive of the MENA. So it's about anyone that can give us goosebumps. So I'm on the search for, I want to feel everything that I do, whether it's in what I create or in the people who I feature or who I have a conversation with. So this is, in short, my past few years, as they say.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hatem. Now, I have a lot of questions for you, but we have very little time. So I'm just going to maybe ask about, you've talked about hidden gems and talents that were discovered. I wanted to ask if you, how you compare the Khaliji talent as opposed to those in the Western countries, if you noticed any differences or if you can tell us about the difference there. And also, we've talked about, support is amazing. But what if you don't get as much? What are the obstacles that someone who's passionate about design and fashion can face in pursuing that field?
I think
and how
any
to
designer,
that,
of course. Starting with the first question, I think that what differentiates us, in particular the new generation, Generation Z, they are much more deep-rooted than we are. They are much more daring than we are, and they have so much to say, and they're extremely talented. So I think that we should consider the younger generation also, in addition to the millennials and the previous ones. But I really think that the Khaliji designers have an edge, especially the ones that use their heritage and their culture to communicate their craft. That gives them a stronger sense of identity. And there's a big perception of, they say, oh, if someone is traditional, it's automatically viewed as being primitive or maybe old school. I actually disagree. I think that people who hold on to the tradition but modernize have a stronger sense of identity. And I think that this differentiates Khalijis from Westerners. And like I said earlier on, we should not mimic the West. We should create our own ecosystem and our own creative pool. And the second question regarding, I think that any designer that has a vision that is authentic and that is different, they will thrive if they take the necessary step. There's certain things that they have to master. The craft and the creative vision has to be original. Don't see what everyone else is doing. I mean, for me, my collections were based on, I would look at what the market is doing and I would do the opposite. Just to make sure that I differentiate myself. And I always wanted to make sure that everything that I did was different. And you have to take it to the next level. You cannot just, for example, they think that the design process is an easy process. It's not an easy process. It's an ongoing process. And make sure that the execution is correct. That's very important.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Hatem. It was a great honor to meet you here today and to have this conversation. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now I would like to move to our next speaker, Ms. Nina Obi. She's the VIP Bridal and Events Beauty and Lifestyle Content Creator, founder of Nina Obi Cosmetics. Ms. Nina, thank you very much for being here with us today. It's a great pleasure to have you.
Thank you for having me. I've been really excited about this. Yeah, it's great to be here.
Well, I'm sorry, I can't help notice, wow, your makeup, mashallah, Ms. Nina.
Everything behind me.
No, not just the one that's on you, the one that's you.
Yeah.
Wish I had that at home. Now, Ms. Nina, can you tell us about how you got into the makeup world and tell us about your background, your experience?
So actually, I was born and brought up in the UK, and I've been in Dubai for maybe around 6-7 years now. And when I was in the UK, I first started working with my father in his business. He's in project management in the construction industry. Wow. And then I worked with him for a little while, and I always had an interest in makeup, and I was always good at doing my own makeup. And I used to have a lot of family members and relatives say, can you do mine? Can you do mine? So my interest kind of sparked from there. And whilst I was working with him, I decided to freelance and get into, I worked for a publication in the UK as a beauty journalist. I did a lot of writing, and then that kind of followed into photo shoots. I learned how to, the basics of photography, editing. I wanted to learn everything so that I was never in a position where I ever had to rely on someone else, so that I knew that I could put an entire shoot together myself. I did plenty of covers. So I wanted to know how everything kind of fit together. I then moved into makeup. I started freelancing. I'll be honest, I worked for free initially because it takes time and hard work for you to establish yourself in the industry. I didn't have anything to show for myself. So I did that for a little while. And then, to be honest, it was through word of mouth, and slowly my clientele built up. I then started working on brides as a freelance makeup artist, and then slowly kind of made my way up to, from what I was told by many, like within the top tier of makeup artists in the UK. And then it wasn't enough for me. I felt like there was so much more that I wanted to do. I didn't want to just ever be classed as only a makeup artist. Mm-hmm. So I got married in Dubai with my husband, and we both moved out here. And my clientele just kind of like, it just went up all of a sudden, like the word of mouth. I had a lot of people out here in Dubai who I knew, and they said, you should really come out here. I think you're going to do pretty well in the makeup industry. I kind of underestimated it, to be honest with you. I didn't realize how much beauty is kind of looked at here in this part of the world. And now I honestly can say that I feel like the UAE is kind of the beauty hub. I feel like when you compare it to anywhere else, there's just so much more going on here. And then I basically, now my clientele is royalty, VIP and celebrities out here. And I travel to different destinations pre-COVID, obviously, to do destination weddings. So like Maldives, Mauritius. So traveling is a big part of what I do as well. And then I launched my beauty brand, which is Nina Ubi Cosmetics. We have eyelashes. And that was actually in partnership with my husband. So he manages the operational side, the logistics of the brand. And within the first month of launching our lashes, we weren't in any retailers initially. After 1 month, we were approached by Bloomingdale's. And then from there, we slowly have branched out into different retailers in the UAE. So, so that's a quick way for me to describe what I've been doing so far.
Well, that's amazing. Zina, of course, I think all Gulf countries are very into beauty and fashion and makeup as well, other than Dubai. Can you tell us what is the latest trends that you've noticed in makeup and how it evolved, and maybe give us a piece of advice for those who are trying to enter this market, who have this passion for makeup as well?
Sure. I feel like makeup has evolved so much over the years, because I feel like right now we can look back at different eras, such as you have the 90s kind of supermodel vibe, you have kind of 60s makeup. We all kind of know what comes to mind when we think of those different eras in fashion or beauty. And I feel like over the years, we've now evolved to the point where makeup is used more so to actually enhance your features, but not just kind of mask certain areas. Also, I feel like now we've got to the point where people are embracing flaws or features that they once saw as flaws. So like you can say, for example, you've seen a lot of looks on the runway, such as freckles. People are actually adding freckles when they don't even have freckles now. So there's so many things that we're starting to embrace, which once we were trying to hide. So I feel like now we're kind of really showing what we were once trying to hide. In terms of trends at the moment, I feel like it's more to do with your skin. I feel like it's really a case of people looking after their skin and showing their features rather than, like I said, masking it. Bronzer is really big right now. Graphic eyes, more kind of summery colors, just to really kind of make it pop and not look so too bland. And in terms of any advice for anyone wanting to enter the industry, I think based on my experience, I would say it is down to, I completely agree, like how Mr. Hatem mentioned earlier about having that business acumen. That is so important, no matter what industry you are in. I know a lot of people look at the beauty industry or makeup and think, oh, it's great fun. But honestly, I wouldn't have got to where I am if I didn't have that business element as well. It's really important. I would say you need to be consistent, think smart, and find out how you can stand out from the rest. I'd also say that try and get some experience in the field to see if you truly are passionate, because I'm a firm believer in, if you are passionate about what you do, then you can be the best that you possibly can be, and you can give it 100%. But I also feel like it's very rare to find that. So I'm very lucky to be able to have created a successful career out of something that I'm genuinely passionate about. But I would also say that keep learning. It takes time to build a solid client base, and your attitude and your professionalism is just as important as your skill that you're offering.
And it is okay to struggle and work for free in the beginning to reach the
Yes, definitely. If anything, I would truly, honestly recommend that, because I feel like, number one, it humbles you. Number two, it shows that if you can go through that, then it isn't just about the money. It is about how passionate you are about it. And it, like I said, it's about learning consistently from people.
And the experience.
Yeah, exactly. And it really does help to kind of just build your just those initial building blocks to your career.
Even this confidence. I mean, you'll be practicing more. You'll have more confidence to when the time comes. Yes. Well, thank you so much, Ms. Mooney. It's been a great pleasure. Unfortunately, again, we don't have much time. I would have loved to continue the conversations with all of you. I will have to move, of course, sorry, Miss Nina. Next is Miss Mooney Hilal. She is Miss World Egypt 18 and 21, founder of Inti Boutique Dubai, and presenter and content creator. Miss Mooney Hilal, thank you very much for being here with us today. It's a great pleasure. Welcome.
Thank you, Sarah, for your introduction. I'm honored to be in this forum to express my thoughts over this important topic through this webinar. And I'm highly grateful to Her Excellency Sheikha Noura for inviting me with you and these wonderful elite crowd.
Thank you very much. It is our honor. Ms. Mooney, can you tell us about how you shaped your journey from the beginning?
Basically, I studied media and communication with arts and design as my second major. Meanwhile, I was working as a fashion model. But I was always curious about designs and fabrics and the nitty-gritty of the costumes or clothes that I was wearing. So I proactively learned from the designers backstage. Then I moved to Dubai to further explore my passion and studied fashion designing. Though I was clear about my goal, it was very hard to figure out the way. I was scared to dive into this unending ocean of style in the fashion industry. But I started, and meanwhile, COVID happened. COVID surfaced, and to be honest, I thank COVID for reshaping my journey, because without it, I might have not started the way I actually did. I didn't have enough money to invest in my business, and I couldn't even get out of my house. But it forced me to find a way. And I believed and still believe that it's the obstacles of our path that defines our strengths. Despite challenges, I let my passion lead me, and I founded my own fashion brand. It's called Inti Boutique, which, by the way, I named my first collection after the names of the women who helped me. And they helped me selflessly and unconditionally. But more importantly, they inspired me to spread the light further. And I promised myself to help other young women and fashion entrepreneurs in all the way I can. I love to make enthusiastic minds and future designers as part of my team, so we can grow together and emerge as strong, courageous women of this era. That's it.
Well, that is very inspiring. But I'd also want to ask, at a young age, mashallah, you're doing what you're doing. What advice would you like to offer to those fashion entrepreneurs at this age?
First of all, I'm 29. I'm not that young anymore. But that's a very good question. As you can see, my journey was challenging, but I kept going, and I learned that it's our consistent efforts that bear enduring success. No matter what hustle you're in, you have to be persistent in your struggle, because success is about going from a failure to a failure without losing enthusiasm, just like Mr. Hatem and Ms. Nina said. Yes, you fail at some point for sure, but you got to buckle up and you got to get back on track, and more strategic this time. Because you have learned the way or ways that didn't work. Now you will have to find that what works exactly for you. Lastly, I believe that our strength lies in growing together and supporting each other. We are here because people before us did great.
Yes.
And you are here because someone supported you to be here in some way. So we have to keep in spirit to help other young women on their journey for progress and excellence. And as they say, empowered women empower women.
Yes. Well, thank you very much, Ms. Mooney. This is very true. I mean, such forums and conferences like this is actually made to support and to spread the word, and for all of us to learn from each other's experiences, and inshallah do great all together. Thank you very much. It was a great honor. Now I'd like to move to our very own Miss Hanan Rida, a Bahraini singer and owner of Defati. I'm sure everyone knows her as the Bahraini singer. Ms. Hanan, it's very good to have you here with us today.
Hello, dear. I'm honored to be with you all here. This is my first time I have this speech in English, so excuse me. It's been a while since I've been speaking English in a while.
No worries.
I'm so honored to be with you all here.
It is a great honor. Now, Ms. Hanan, everyone knows or label you as the Bahraini singer. Today we'll be talking about fashion and the fashion industry. We're talking about stories within the fashion industry. Can you tell us about how you entered into the fashion industry and your journey, how you reached here today?
Before I tell you about my journey, I think someone else's camera is on, right?
Yes, it's okay. Once you talk, it's gonna go to you.
Okay. Because I prepared the speech, but apparently I think I'm gonna ditch the speech and I'm just gonna leave it in front of me as a reference. So before everything, in the beginning, I would like to thank Her Excellency Sheikh Anwar Al Khalifa for having me to be one of the speakers, and I'm honored to be with you all here. Thank you for the introduction. I would like to introduce myself as well. I'm a proud Bahraini singer, and I have a bachelor's degree in music. My major is opera singing and vocal training. I released many songs for the past within the past 6 years, and I have represented my country and performed on many stages all around the Middle East. My journey started before, let's say, in 2016. I have collaborated with a tailor shop in Bahrain, and they decided to collaborate and launch a line by my name, Hanan Rida, and it was a great success. To be honest, it's one of the best sellers till now. It was a sport line for abayas. Everybody knows that I wear dresses for my concerts and where I perform in weddings, but a part of me loves to wear abaya. As you can see today, also I'm wearing abaya, and I love especially colorful abayas, white and blue. Also, my collection was very colorful. Recently, I have started my own business. Aside from being a singer, I've launched an abaya line. My brand is called Defati. Defa is what we call here in Bahrain abaya, and Defati is my abaya, my defa. The line is a bit different. It's edgy and it has a touch of tradition. My friends were asking me, don't you think your designs are a bit sharp? I told them, I think I need a young woman. To be honest, I was targeting a young woman, but then I had, of course, other opinions. My friends, all of them, try to change, not to only focus on sharp. So that's what I really did. Alhamdulillah, it's going very well, and we're shipping all around GCC. The first collection was launched in Ramadan, and it was a great success, to be honest, alhamdulillah. And we just launched the second collection for Eid al-Adha. I have picked every fabric carefully, passionately, and I've designed each abaya to be suitable for all women. Of all ages, all sizes, all tastes. I have to please and respect all tastes as well, as much as I can. My friends and my husband who supported me, I'm so thankful for them, and my family, of course, my mother. Some of them were literally on spot there, choosing the fabrics with me, and we were discussing the designs, and I've changed a lot. I drew some of the sketches, and I've changed once I saw the fabrics on scene. So it was amazing that I have this imagination that I can imagine, oh, this fabric that goes well with this design. My friend was like, are you born with it or something? You just see the fabric and voila, you get the design. It was an amazing journey, to be honest, and it was fun to be surrounded and to see all the support by my family, my husband, my friends, and as well my fans who kept their support. They're very loyal to my brand as well. So yeah, it was a great journey.
That is amazing, and it's very nice to hear that. I mean, you've said that sometimes you had something in mind, but when you saw the material, it can change to what you feel and what you can see in real, which is, I think it's it's an important thing to be flexible as well. You also talked about targeting young women only and having edgy and bold, but then you've changed a bit and you've heard what the people actually say, and you've tailored to their needs. Hanan, I would love to know more, but unfortunately we don't have much time. Is there anything else that you would like to add in this forum before we end?
I just say, I have to say that you have to be patient. You have to be focused all the time. And that time I was studying. I got my diploma in protocol and etiquette, and I made it, alhamdulillah. You have to be focused. It's not like you're studying so you can't do anything else, or you're working on a project or your brand so you can't study or do anything else. So thank God I've managed to do it all. In the end, I would like to encourage all women around the world to chase their dreams and to believe in themselves, because with self-esteem and faith, you can achieve your goals. So don't give up on your dreams and never stop being ambitious. And thank you.
Thank you very much. What an amazing way, an inspiring way to end this. Thank you very much. And I'm a huge fan. If we had time, I would have asked you to sing, but maybe next time. Thank you very much. Now I would like to move on to Ms. Jamila Khordon, President of DK Ambassador, President of Luxury Committee in Paris and International Summit of Fashion, Summit International de la Mode, Paris Fashion Week. Ms. Jamila, it's a pleasure to have you here with us today. I know you've been busy, and we're thankful that you finally made it. Now, I think you're on mute, Ms. Jamila, if you can unmute yourself.
Yeah. Thank you so much for hosting me, and I am very happy to be connected with you, even if I am in a complicated situation. But the thing is very important to share with you some ideas and
yes, well,
and information.
Those are some of the positives of COVID, that we can still talk and have a conversation even when you're busy.
Yeah.
Now, can you tell us about yourself, your experience in the fashion industry?
Yeah.
And what inspires you to create the International Summits of Fashion as president as well?
Yeah. I'm in fact graduate in master degree, marketing and management master degree in Paris. And I worked, before I created my company, I worked for different luxury brands like Valentino, like Balenciaga, Jewelry, Repossi, Place Vendôme. And I grew up during 10 days with this luxury brand. So imagine for me, when I was younger, it was like a dream to work for this luxury brands. And I work a lot because I work for different departments like communication, marketing, and management. And after my master degree, I decided to create, of course, my company in tourism sector and events. And I attended one time in what we call the Forum de la Mode, fashion forum, and in Paris. And the different speakers tried to sensibilize us as an actor in tourism and events to help and support fashion designer to have a big visibility in France, but also in international countries. So when when I analyzed at this time that when I was younger, I have this chance to work for this high level and luxury brands. And it's my time to give a chance to the young and emerging talent to have the visibility in France, but also in different countries. So that's why I decided to create this International Summit of Fashion to open the door of some fashion designer who cannot have, perhaps who don't know the French market, but also who cannot have the chance to meet some professional in fashion and luxury brands in France. So that's why I decided to create this project, and I'm pretty proud of this because until this day we helped some designer to, for example, to open the one boutique in Paris, but also to meet some professional in part of international luxury brands. And all the time we do networking with these luxury brands based in Paris to try to see how we can develop and advance and support more and more the fashion designer, but not only fashion designer, also some brands, international and foreign brands, who want to, for example, to have the visibility in Paris.
Thank you very much. Now, I'm sorry, we are very short in time. Can you end by giving us an advice, or what are the advantages of being a fashion designer, and what can you tell those who are interested?
Yeah, first of all, the fashion designer has to, before to be creative, before to have some skills, do the job that you want to do the job that you are passionate. And if you do that, you can, after, of course, develop your skills, because skills, you can develop it, you can learn, you can do training, you can develop networking after to grow up. But first of all, if you are not passionate of being fashion designer, change your job. But if you are passionate by this, okay, you can grow up and you can be tomorrow the high-level fashion designer in over the world.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, Ms. Jamila, for joining us here today.
Welcome. It was a pleasure for me. Thank you for hosting me again.
Thank you. Now we're going to move on to our next and last speaker, Ms. Shilpi Goel, designer and proprietor of Blue Morpho. Hello, Ms. Shilpi. It's very good to have you here with us. Can you tell us more about yourself, your experience, and tell us more about your business as well?
First of all, good evening to all the panelists and Her Excellency Sheikh Noura for giving me this opportunity to be here with all the esteemed guests. It's indeed an exciting moment for me to represent my country from my India. And it's really nice because everyone is talking about fashion, and I want to talk about fashion in home industry, like fashion in home furnishing, which is a very different idea which I have come up with. And I want to start my story by telling you how I got into fashion, this industry. This was because of my mother. My mother raised we are seven sisters, and I'm the youngest. So my mother raised seven of us, and she just gave us good education, good personal skills. And when I was small, my mother used to stitch clothes for all of us, and she used to embroider them with beautiful patterns. And it was my job to sketch those embroidery patterns and select colors for her. And at times I used to also run the machine for her to help her in stitching. That's how I got passionate about the fashion part. And slowly I started making sketches and got into paintings and started sketching fashion figures. Then I thought, okay, this is a line which I can pursue in my further studies, and I graduated in fashion. And as a first job, I got into Shahi Exports, which was India's largest exporters of that time. This was like a big opportunity for me. I got into a section, embroidery section, and at the time when I joined it, the embroidery section was running very low. There was less production. There was very ill managed. But within a span of like 6 months, the embroidery section's production and demand grew manifold. This imbibed the confidence in me. Okay, I can do it. Now I'm going the right track. And then I was given a job by a French customer who asked me if I can join as a buying agent, and I joined them. And there I had to like manage like 12 exporters, which are based in Delhi or Ludhiana, two of the cities of India. And I had to look after the management, the designing, the production, the quality assurance, everything. This is where I learned the technicalities of the trade, real technicalities, because at days I used to like start my work 8 in the morning, finish up at 9, 10 o'clock at night. But I was enjoying it. I was definitely enjoying it because that's where I was learning the real trade. And it was in this job that my French colleague came up with the concept of designing home linens. And so we both sat down and we started designing a whole collection of home linens. And we presented it in one of the exhibition in France, and it was a success. So gradually, every season, we started doing it. And then I started working with different companies for the West as well as France for this home division. But when I was about to give birth to my daughter, I had to take a break. And this is when I was at home and I was doing some designing, sketching as usual in my pad. And my cousin in US, she came up with an idea. Why don't we start designing flip-flops, which was like very away from apparels and furnishing. And I said, okay, let's try. And then I had to study flip-flop. That was a very different line. So we launched that brand, Lizzie Lou shoes, also in US. So maybe I can just share the presentation along with you.
Yes.
Where I can just show you what all we do. So this is what we did and Lizzie Lou shoes. And then when I was doing this, I was along with it, I was developing most of home linens for the US, as well as doing embroidered fabrics for Derek Lam and their soft furnishings. And this led to building of my whole collection. And I was doing more of home linens like quilts, cushion covers, and everything. And so when I started designing home linens, I thought that, okay, when we do home linens, there has to be some taste, some customers' needs that we have to see into it. So every detail we had to work out, like, okay, this customer wants this, it's the season, it's the fabric, it's the color. So if a customer was looking for a sophisticated kind of home furnishing, so and they wanted light color and very elegant, so we went to Cadilla, which was done in a silk with all hand embroideries, light pastel colors. And then I try to get inspiration from the nature, from trees, from birds, from monuments. And India is like full of monuments with a lot of carvings. Every section of India has got its own unique handicraft, its own unique embroidery skills. So like Kashmir had a kind of embroidery which is called Kashida. And when I saw those embroideries, so fine and so distinctive that we just designed a whole collection of embroidered, Kashmiri embroidered home furnishings. And we also made it more to modern taste by putting in some silver threads, some golden threads to match to the modern taste. And then I was in Bahrain a few years back, and then I saw some Islamic mosque with a lot of nice patterns on it. And we thought of designing this collection of Afghan green, which was more inspired by the mosque. As you can see in my screen, it's the mosque which inspired me from Bahrain to make this collection. So this is how we try to incorporate wherever I travel and whatever I can see and put it into a form, I would say. It's just that when you see and you dream, and when you put it into form, it's not always easy, because it's at times very difficult to make the workers understand what you're thinking and what you're designing. And then I have to sit and work with them. Many times we are like on floors making swatches and swatches and swatches till we come to what we actually dreamt of. And when you see that dream coming into form, it really, really feels nice. And in this, when the pandemic has hit, it's been very difficult time. Even the people who are staying home, they don't want like fancy bed linens. They want more comfortable, more cooling, more simpler bed linens, because most of the time we are sitting on bed. Most of the time we are either working from bed or even eating from bed at bed. And so we designed a whole collection of bed sheets, which were like soothing colors, soft embroideries. But there was Christmas, so that when you sit, it doesn't get crumpled easily. So we did all these bed sheets along with it. And even the cushions that we did was like more softer, less sequin work, less of bead work, so that it's more easy for them. They feel comfortable while doing it. And during this COVID time, the women had difficult time, because a lot of women help around me, I saw, they didn't have enough work, especially the domestic help. There used to be like times when the domestic help could only work in one house instead of multiple houses. They used to come to me and ask if I had little work. Then I spoke to all my team members if we can come up with some idea of helping them. So we started teaching them how to do simple jobs of women after they finish up the morning course. They can just cut threads, or someone who can just stitch. We taught them how to stitch masks, and they made masks for everyone. And they even distributed it. It was fun for them also, as well as it was getting them money. And even the artisans now, they carry work from me back home, and they can do whatever they want at home at their ease, without the thinking that, okay, there's a corona and what if I get corona, and they can just come back. So yes, I feel sometimes I'm also called a taskmaster, but that's how I feel. You can look into the details, you can look into the fineness of the craft, and you can get what you really want. And because you can't just tell, okay, whatever you have brought or whatever has been done in the first go is correct. I mean, sometimes the work has to be really fine, because it won't sell, it won't suit the client. So we look into it that every aspect is covered, everything is covered while we are doing it. And so I also feel that since this market is huge and there's a lot of competition, but we have to survive in this. So we need to ensure that we have unique collection, and there's a quality assurance, there is timely deliveries. There's also a budget to be maintained. Like we have to see into the cost factor. We have to see the client we are going to cater to, because there are certain clients who might be a low budget, there's certain who will be a middle budget, there's someone who would like high-end quality products. So there are different ranges that we make. And thankfully, I have a team of people who are working with me and who who does all kind of work, whether it's hand embroideries or machine-guided embroideries or computerized embroideries. So we do all kinds of those things, and I think, and we try to match the taste of today. That's all I could say for the day. And as I end, I would also like the investors or the shops to come and make Bluemorpho my brand, a global brand. And as my brand name Bluemorpho always present a blue butterfly, which we believe that brings good luck or honor or joy. I feel that we all stay healthy and this world is free from the pandemic very soon. So that more of meeting is done on a one-to-one basis than on a virtual platform. Thank you so much.
Yes, indeed. Thank you very much, Ms. Shilpi. This was very interesting. Thank you very much for sharing those designs and your experience with us. Thank you very much. Now, unfortunately, we've reached to the end of today's sessions. I would like to invite Her Excellency Sheikha Noura to say a few words before we leave you and go off to the fashion show. Sheikha Noura? I'm not sure if Sheikha Noura is here. I think she may have got disconnected.
I believe there is a connectivity issue. I'm sorry.
Yes, I think she got disconnected. But either way, I would like to thank everyone. I'd like to thank you all for speaking here today. You've all been a great inspiration. You will see in the chat box now the link to the fashion show. I do hope that you can join it. And inshallah, I'll see all our attendees who want to attend the last day, which is tomorrow, the 8th day of the Global Women Virtual Fashion Forum and Show. It's been a great honor. Thank you, everyone. Have an amazing day ahead. Bye-bye.
Greetings everyone, this is Shireen Mahmoud and I'll be welcoming you to the 7th day of the Global Women Virtual Fashion Forum and Show. We are honored and pleased for your participation in this event. We would like to thank our platinum sponsors, Al Rashid Group, which is known as a landmark division group in the Kingdom of Bahrain. And we would like to thank Max, which is known for their trendy fashion designs and it is an international company. We would also like to thank our sponsors, the French Fashion Institute, Esmod Dubai, and this is one of the oldest and known fashion schools in the GCC, and the Royal University for Women, which is known for being the first private university to have the bachelor degree of fashion design for women in the Kingdom of Bahrain. And also, Lulu Group International, which is a multinational company that operates a chain of known hypermarkets and retail companies. The fashion designers participating today are Israeli fashion designers, Andina by Isabel, Saila by Hila Yair, and Asia. We hope you enjoy the show.
Legendary Vogue editor Diana Vreeland once said, "Fashion is part of the daily air, and it changes all the time. You can even see the approaching of a revolution in clothes." Design has always been a personal and professional passion for me. That's why I am so proud of the budding designers from West Virginia University and the Royal University for Women, who are transforming fashion for our digital age. I have had the privilege of visiting the RUW campus in Berlin several times and seen firsthand its students' vibrant creations. I thought a joint fashion show between the Royal University for Women and West Virginia University would give our students an opportunity to share their creations and to have fun seeing different fashion perspectives. COVID has shaped our collaboration, showing even more clearly how technology can transform our lives and forge connections.
Thank you for joining and watching the event. See you tomorrow.